Father Dries here with another video from questions that were asked by high schoolers on January 7th. Two more questions here. First one is, what do you do when you feel neither option is morally right when voting? So it has to do with, you have two candidates, let's say, often here in the U.S. there's often just two candidates that are kind of running for an office. And you have to vote for one of them if you kind of, if let's say both of them are pretty lousy choices. No, actually, you can abstain. That can be times where that's the case. It can be either times of I don't know either of them. Let's just say you move to a place and you get in there and you're like, well, I've never heard of either of these. I can find very little information about them. All of it is just hearsay, kind of. I just because I see signs, I don't know anything about what their position. I'm like, well, I might skip that one because I don't have enough information. Now, if it's particular, kind of matters of kind of life, family, marriage, in those areas, very important, kind of the bedrock of a healthy society. Life, marriage, and family. So, let's say both candidates have kind of elements where they're not supportive of either of those areas. They're kind of, yeah, this one maybe has some really bad things. This has some bad things, but they aren't as bad. But if they both have things that are kind of intrinsically kind of evil, seriously, and you're like, neither of them is going to move the ball forward in the area of helping develop a healthy culture. And even if one of them says, well, I'm this, let's just say that person just doesn't work well with people, or they may actually cause more damage. And you have this other one who's really competent, but man, I don't agree anything. Nothing of them line up with what's the right kind of outlook on life, what our faith says. You may say in that situation, I can't vote. Even the candidate who has the right position, I agree in position-wise, I don't think he or she is going to actually help the cause because the way he or she interacts with others or their lack of competency, it looks like they probably will cause more damage. And you might say, well, I don't want to vote for this one. I don't know if this one, I'm just going to step back. That can happen. I don't think it's probably not the norm. I would not say, but there can be situations where that may be the case. But I think with voting, if someone says, well, I'm just not going to vote because I don't want either of these. Well, okay, maybe not for that office. You won't vote for a candidate, but there are many others. So someone who uses that excuse, well, I'm not going to vote at all, is to say, well, no. There are other. You have an issue with every single one. Even this or that referendum or this, kind of the things. I don't even vote for candidates. Kind of just certain other things that are up for votes on the ballot as well. So it shouldn't be used as an excuse. Well, I'm just not, because it can be, I'm just late. I just don't want to go. I don't want to take the effort to go stand in line and kind of cast my vote. So the other question, last one here, is if Jesus is in the Eucharist, why do you take such care in preparing just to have people receive on the hand and rub their hands on their clothes? Now, okay, Jesus, he's in the Eucharist. I take care to prepare, because he's in the Eucharist. It's truly present in the Eucharist. That's why the corporal. That's why there's the vessels and such. That's why I purify my fingers afterwards. This Jesus is really present. Now the question is, well, then why? Behind this is, well, why do you let them receive? Why do you let people receive in the hand? If Jesus is really present here, why does the church allow people to receive in the hand? Now, in the early church, there was reception in the hand. The question is, how is that done in the hand? And we don't exactly know. All right, because it's not like they had detailed, videotapes or anything. There does seem to be. So one of them that's quoted is to make a throne with your hand and then receive. Actually, it seems most from the text and stuff most likely that it's very close to your mouth and actually you just receive on your hand. But the bishops have instructed of receiving your hand to receive on one hand, have the other hand pick it up and place it in your mouth. If you receive in the hand, you're welcome to receive on the tongue. If you receive on the tongue, please not the lizard tongue. and not codfish. You know, you just have your tongue resting on your lower lip, kind of flat, almost like making I don't know, I'll just show you. Just like that. You know, you have your own eye open and it's just resting on your lower tongue, I mean, lower lip, lower tongue. And it's just, that's, so then you might say, well, why does the church allow in the hand if there's possibly particles? The church allows it. Now, let's say Matt, it was clearly like very flaky, like the hosts were very flaky and stuff. Then that would be an issue. But the hosts that we use are rather kind of firm and such. I don't use one of those big hosts. Some parishes use them. I think it's been less and less common because of come to this understanding. Like, no, like I don't want to break this thing up into 50 pieces and then have all these crumbs. Actually, when I was at a parish where I had that, it was like, okay, I'm just gonna give them to the people and do it on the tongue because the crumbs are because Jesus is present in every particle. Now you can become overly scrupulous with that. Well, there might have been a crumb or something, or okay, I think we do the best we can. And I think one encouraging thing is with reverence toward the Eucharist, and since I've been a priest, there's clearly been an increase of it. I think other priests and such would say the same in the last, 10 years. And so I think that, those that want to say, well, it's a sin to receive in the hand, or, the way it came about, it was all, yes, there were, I don't necessarily, I haven't gone deep dive into, going into exactly how receiving the hand was. It seems like it was, it was being done without permission, and then the church just said, okay, we'll allow it to be done. All right. But I think for one's spiritual life, it's not helpful with some of those debates to get into that and get all worked up. I think the importance, nope, I want to go closer to Jesus. And I need to first just kind of worry about myself and not be the liturgical police. And to trust, no, this is your church, Jesus. All right, so it's the same as with a priest. Someone who comes in, they haven't been to confession for a couple of years, and let's say they can, confess a couple things. It's not my job to then start digging around. Well, you must have committed something. Maybe they did, but to trust that God, if you're at work in their life, that stuff is going to be revealed to them, and they're going to become more aware, and they're going to bring that later. All right, so it's just trusting. This is the situation we're in our world, and how can we cooperate with God's grace, and realize, what, it's at the end of the day, it's Jesus' church. Now, it did get to the point where, there's clear, if I'm almost receiving the hand and then they're doing this afterwards, I might talk to that person and say, or they're making a scene, there's clearly like that. But I don't necessarily see that, I think we want to be careful of the churches allows this, and she could change it one day. She could say, no, we're just going to receive on the tongue only. But at this point, both are allowed here in the States, and so I think just keep our eyes on Jesus. All right. So some great questions. Just keep them coming. God bless.